Hey, what's up? I'm creating this video because of someone who responded to my Black in Mexico video. Let me read her comment. Her comment states, "You took the bus over from Laredo, Texas to Nuevo Laredo. I'm headed to Guadalajara with my girl in December and we're riding a Greyhound. We're also crossing over in Laredo. How did your transfer go? Did the Greyhound take you over to Mexico, then switch bus companies once you got there? Also, Border Patrol, they get on a bus in the U.S. and check passports and baggage or what? Also, once crossed into Mexico, another inspection by the Mexican Border Patrol, passports, luggage. Is this where you get the tourist visa? If you could go into the transition a little, I appreciate it. I'm from Southwest Detroit, so it's going to be a long ride just trying to transition smoothly. I appreciate it if you could talk me through it." Now, first and foremost is that I got my ticket from Chicago to Laredo and then from Laredo to Mexico City. And the reason I did that is because I didn't have all the money for the whole trip. So I broke it up into two. Since you're leaving Detroit, most likely your transfer is going to be in Chicago. So hopefully your bus arrives real early. I'm talking about hopefully 4 hours early so you can be one of the first persons in line. If you're not and you get on a bus like, towards the end of the line, then most likely you won't get a seat to yourself. You won't get a window seat. You got to sit in the aisle seat at least to like Missouri or St. Louis or something, because the bus is going to stay pretty full until Texas, where you have to switch over to another bus, okay? And that bus is going to be half full, but you're not going to really see any black people at all because black people are not really going south of Dallas unless they're going to San Antonio. So if you do see black people on the bus, most likely it's going to be to San Antonio. South from there, you're going to see mostly, Hispanic people, Mexican. You're going to hear a lot of Spanish on the bus and whatever. So, did you switch bus company? Now, once I arrived to the Laredo bus station, I had to go to a counter. Now the bus station is an enclosed bus station, just like any other bus station you will find in like LA, New York, or Chicago or whatever. And you simply go up to the counter and you show the guy your ticket. And what he's going to do is give you your Mexican bus ticket. It's real easy. I was riding on American Americano's bus, okay? Now, at this point, you haven't entered Mexico. You're going to enter Mexico on the Mexican bus. The Mexican bus actually crosses the border. Now, once you are on the Mexican bus, from what I experienced, most likely it's gonna be somewhat empty, especially if you're crossing at night, because nobody like to cross that border going into Mexico at night for some reason. So once you cross, it's gonna take, I can't remember, man, maybe 30 minutes or something like that, or an hour to actually get across the border, but you got to stop at the Border Patrol station or whatever. Now, in Laredo, the guy got on the bus and started speaking Spanish because he assumed that everybody on the bus is Mexican. Mexican. So the moment he saw me, and note, I had on my blue hoodie, I had on some blue jean shorts, and I had on like a red shirt. So I was looking like a quote-unquote thug to him. So he just abruptly stopped his speech and automatically came back over to me, and they was asking me everything under the sun. They was asking me about my sister. They was asking me, who do I live with? Do I have a phone number? I pulled out my state ID. The guy, and by this time, two more Border Patrol agents got on, because I think he had got off and got them. So so there's 3 Border Patrol agents on, and they just questioned me, why you going to Mexico? They were saying that maybe I was on the run, He flashed the flashlight inside my bag, because sometimes people smuggle guns down to Mexico and whatever and stuff like that. Now, this isn't to say it will happen to you, because I have read posts where people who were black entered Mexico and they didn't pull you over. So the Border Patrol kind of messes with people who they want to mess with, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to mess with you. Now, coming back, yeah, they're going to mess with you because it is Mexico, and they're going to assume that you're, smuggling drugs or whatever. So they're going to check you for sure. But going down there, they for sure checked me. They checked my passport. They took my passport off the bus into like the Border Patrol station area, and then they came back. And all of this took, from what I remember, about 10 minutes. So they was holding the bus up because of little old me, who wasn't really doing anything. But you know, this is America, and that's just the way it goes. So after all that, so once they figure out that I wasn't down there doing anything illegal, of course, then they started to be somewhat sympathetic. They was like, hey man, it's pretty dangerous down in Mexico. You never know what's gonna happen to you. We wanted to warn you. In a way, they was trying to discourage me from going down there, because they was saying stuff like, you know, we don't want to see you on the news, and was like, hey, I talked to that guy and stuff like this. And I was like, okay, cool. Now what's funny is that when I actually, so the Americanos bus, after they questioned me, it actually crosses into Mexico. Now, once you cross into Mexico, you got to get off. You got to get off, and you got to go up in this shack. It's going to be Mexican police to direct you. And they was real nice. You know, they was nice. They're going to direct you to like this this building area where you got to basically go and get your stamp. And the guy is going to fill out the white card for you. When I enter Mexico again through Belize, I had to fill out that white card for myself. Make sure you keep that card, because you're going to need it to leave the country, okay? So you got to fill out the white card. You keep that white card your whole entire time in Mexico, and then they get a stamp. Now, down there in Nuevo Laredo, everybody spoke Spanish, so you're going to need to know some Spanish to know what you're doing, because you got to go through the customs area where you got to claim stuff. You got to put your bag over here and all that, and everybody is speaking in Spanish. No one is speaking in English. Luckily, there was another guy who was from America who was bilingual, and he was able to translate for me. He was like, yeah, do this and do that. So I was lucky as far as that goes. Now, once you get past there, from what I remember, I think they checked our bags. I'm not sure, but once you get past there, then you get back on your bus. Your bus is gonna be right there. If you happen to get, you know, lost or something, there's gonna be a Mexican border guard guy to direct you to your bus, and it's good from there. Now, I wanted to tell you that I suggest that you don't cross at Nuevo Laredo, simply because it looked like a war zone down there. I crossed at night. The streets was deserted. There was hardly nobody outside. The bus, there was only like 3 or 4 of us on a bus. So, and from what I understand, it's extremely dangerous to do that. The area between Monterey and Nuevo Laredo is pretty dangerous. I suggest that you cross through San Diego, simply because it's a popular port. It might take longer, but from what I understand, that area is a bit safer than crossing at Laredo. But if you got to cross at Laredo, try to cross in the morning. And from Nuevo Laredo to Monterey, that's a 3-hour ride. So anyway, so once we got past customs and all that, everybody was all good. The Mexican customs, the people in that building, they didn't trip at all because I was black. They didn't really say anything. Now, down the road, from what I remember, about an hour on the bus, there's a checkpoint. So you're gonna have the army guys. They could be cartel, who knows? But you're gonna have the army guys come on the bus. And when they came on the bus, from what I remember, they checked everybody's IDs, and then they automatically came back over to me, and they were speaking in Spanish. They didn't know any English, so I just pulled out my hotel gift voucher, and for Guatemala, and they was able to look at it. Guatemala, they were saying stuff in Spanish. I couldn't understand it. They couldn't understand me, and then after a while, they just left me alone. But they did look in my bag, though. They did look in my bag, from what I remember, and I was on my way. So all the way to Monterey, there was no problems, and then on from that, it was all gravy. It was all gravy from there. I think I had to get my ticket changed in Monterey too, but they put the incorrect city on my ticket, and I ended up going to like Querétaro or something, and then I had to buy another ticket for Querétaro to Mexico City. So make sure that they put your correct city on the ticket, okay? Each time you change your ticket, no matter it's in America, double check it to make sure that the correct city that you paid for is on there, because they will mess up and put another city on there, and then you got to pay more to get to the city, to get to your destination. So that was my experience on the bus system for the most part. Let me see. The passport and luggage, yeah. The Mexican Army guys, they check your passport and luggage. The Border Patrol agents on the U.S. side check your passport and luggage. The Mexico side, they didn't really check your passport unless they were stamping it. And luggage, from what I remember, I think they looked through it and whatever. So that stamp is where you get your tourist visa. And yeah, so it was mostly a smooth transition because the Greyhound bus is going to pull into a real bus station, and you can simply go to the front counter, show your ticket, and the guy is going to know what to do with it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the second leg of your trip will have the code for the Mexican bus system, so they will automatically swap it out for you. Even if you buy your ticket directly from Detroit to Mexico City, once you get to Laredo on the U.S. side, they're gonna automatically know what to do, and it's pretty smooth selling from there. On the Mexico side, like I said, they're gonna, they could tell you a tourist. They know they're gonna direct you the way you need to go and whatever. And it was basically a smooth process for the most part. So yeah, so anybody who thinking about going to Mexico and taking a Greyhound, for me, it was a smooth process. And I don't suggest you enter through Laredo, and definitely don't enter through there at night. Expect a checkpoint, at least one checkpoint, from Nuevo Laredo to Monterey, because most likely that's the city you're going to go to. And if you were entering, I suggest you enter through San Diego. So those are the main things, and I think I covered all of your questions. All right, thank you. Peace.